Arsenal haven't won the Premier League since 2004, but now they might finally go all the way because they could be adding the one thing they've been missing all along. After going unbeaten in 2003-04, Arsenal were on top of the world. The Invincibles had written their name into football history, but that's where the glory stopped. What followed was a slow, painful fall from dominance. Key players began to leave. Vieira, Henry, Cole, Fabregas, Van Persie, one after the other. The club moved to the Emirates. The finances tightened. Arsène Wenger, once hailed as a genius, now struggled to keep up with the new era of football. Trophy hopes turned into top four races. Title dreams became memes. Even when Arsenal showed signs of revival, it never lasted. 2010, leading the league in March, collapsed. 2016, Leicester won the title while Arsenal finished second. Every year felt like maybe this time, until it didn't. Then came the real darkness. Wenger left. Unai Emery came and went. Freddie Ljungberg took over briefly. The club dropped into the Europa League, then out of Europe entirely. It wasn't just a fall, it was a crash. For a generation of fans, Arsenal used to be great, but for many younger fans, greatness was just a story their dads told them. And even when Mikel Arteta was appointed, the early signs weren't encouraging. Mid-table finishes, doubts, frustration. Some even called for him to be sacked. Arsenal, once giants, had become a punchline, a club with history, not a future. But sometimes rock bottom is where the real rebuild begins. When Mikel Arteta was appointed in 2019, Arsenal were in chaos. The club had no clear identity. The squad was unbalanced. Confidence was gone. He inherited a broken dressing room and a divided fan base. But slowly, and often painfully, Arteta began to change things. He cleared out the deadwood. Ozil, Mustafi, Sokratis, Aubameyang, all gone. Some decisions were controversial. Some results were ugly. But behind the scenes, something was shifting. Arsenal stopped chasing quick fixes and started building a foundation. They signed young, hungry players with something to prove. Odegaard, Ramsdale, Ben White, Tomiyasu. They doubled down on Hale-end products like Saka and Smith Rowe. And most importantly, they trusted the process. By 2021 to 2022, the signs were visible. Arsenal had an identity again. High-pressing, fluid passing, fearless football. By 2022 to 2023, they were leading the Premier League for most of the season. And by 2023-24, they had pushed Manchester City all the way to the wire again. Declan Rice arrived to anchor the midfield. William Saliba emerged as one of the best defenders in Europe. Bukayo Saka became a world-class winger. And Odegaard, the quiet captain, ran the show with elegance and control. Arteta had created something special, not just a team, but a culture. Young, united, ruthless. The Emirates began to believe again. The mockery faded. The fear returned. This wasn't the same Arsenal everyone used to laugh at. But as good as they had become, something was still missing. A finishing touch. The one piece that could turn a contender into a champion. Arsenal's rise under Arteta wasn't just impressive, it was fast. In just a few years, they went from mid-table mediocrity to genuine title challengers. But as the stakes got higher, so did the pressure. And that's where the cracks began to show. In 2022 to 2023, Arsenal were electric. They led the Premier League for 248 days, more than any team that season. Saka, Odegaard, Martinelli, all hitting top form. The belief was real. The fan base was dreaming. But with 9 games to go, everything unraveled. Draws against Liverpool, West Ham, and Southampton. A brutal 4-1 loss to Manchester City. Injuries to key players like Saliba and Tomiyasu exposed the squad's lack of depth. And just like that, the title slipped away. Still, they finished second, their best campaign in years. Progress, yes, but painful. Then came 2023-24. This time, they were smarter, stronger. Declan Rice arrived and transformed the midfield. The defense became the best in the league. They beat big teams. They learned to grind out results. But Manchester City were relentless. Even with 89 points, Arsenal finished second again. And in 2024 to 2025, it was more of the same. Despite having one of the most complete squads in Europe, they couldn't find the killer instinct when it mattered most. Key chances missed. Points dropped against lower table teams. The margins were razor thin, but in a title race, their everything 3 seasons, 3 second-place finishes, and in each one, fans were left asking the same question: what are we missing? Because the football was beautiful, the defense was elite, the midfield was world-class, but in the final third, in the moments that decide titles, something always felt incomplete, and that missing piece might finally be on its way. After 3 painful near misses, most teams would crumble, but Arsenal didn't. They learned, they evolved, and in 2026, they might finally be ready. Because this team, it's not the same one that collapsed under pressure in 2023. It's stronger, mentally and physically. The young stars who once showed promise are now entering their prime. Saka is no longer just a wonder kid, he's a match winner. Odegaard has matured into a true leader and one of the league's best creators. Saliba and Gabriel have become a wall at the back, and Declan Rice has given Arsenal the spine they lacked for years. The squad is also deeper. Arteta finally has options off the bench, players who can come in without dropping the level. The defense can rotate, the midfield can adapt. The system is now second nature, fluid, intense, and suffocating for opponents. And most importantly, this group has been through failure together. They've felt the heartbreak. They've watched City lift the trophy again and again. But instead of falling apart, they've used it as fuel. There's a different energy now, a quiet confidence. Arsenal don't just hope they can win, they believe they should. But even with all that growth, one question still hangs in the air. Do they finally have what it takes to finish the job? Because for all their progress, one issue has refused to go away. And in a title race this tight, it could make all the difference. For all of Arsenal's progress under Mikel Arteta, one issue kept haunting them. They never had a true number 9. Yes, they had Gabriel Jesus, a tireless runner and technical forward. Yes, Kai Havertz added size and flexibility, but neither struck fear into defenders. Neither was that ruthless, goal-obsessed striker Arsenal needed in the biggest moments. Enter Victor Gyökeres, signed in the summer of 2025. After back-to-back title-winning seasons at Sporting CP, the Swedish striker arrives at the Emirates with one job: finish the chances this Arsenal team creates. And if his past is anything to go by, he'll do just that. Gyökeres isn't your typical late bloomer. He's a product of patience and persistence. After a modest start at Brighton, where he was constantly loaned out, he eventually found his form at Coventry City, but it was in Portugal where he exploded. At Sporting, Gyökeres became unplayable. 2 league titles, 2 Bola de Prata trophies as top scorer, LPFP Player of the Year in 2024. He was scoring from everywhere. Headers, solo runs, one-touch finishes. His game became complete. But beyond the goals, what makes him dangerous is how he unlocks the rest of the attack. He drags defenders out, holds the ball up, presses relentlessly, and creates space for the likes of Odegaard, Saka, and Martinelli to thrive. He brings chaos, he brings composure, and crucially, he brings goals. For the first time since the days of Thierry Henry or Robin van Persie, Arsenal have a striker who's both feared and prolific. Arteta knew this team didn't need more possession or build-up. It needed someone who ends the move, someone who decides games, someone who wins titles. And now, with Victor Gyökeres leading the line, Arsenal might finally have everything. So what do you think? Will Arsenal finally lift the Premier League trophy in 2026? Or will history repeat itself yet again?